You got it. Have another shot.
You know...
Well, you left me hanging here. I'm with Macedonia. We're setting the stage for Alexander the Great and why he's so fucking great.
Okay. Yeah. So Thebes hegemony. Anyway.
So why is there a need for an Alexander? Like, things happen because there's a need.
I mean, things happen because they happen. There's no purpose. Right? The only truth is that God is good. Anyway.
God is good. Alhamdulillah.
So meanwhile, in Macedonia, they're gaining influence, whatever. Philip II, Alexander's father.
Philip!
Unifies Macedonia. Might be used unified form, I don't know. But he establishes a professional army. He died, was possibly assassinated. The historical sources aren't clear on why Philip died. But I forgot to mention, Philip conquered Greece.
So why is it not Philip the Great?
So Philip subjugates Greece, dies. But he always dreamed of conquering Persia, which is crazy. And he gave it to his son, and his son, Alexander, basically formed the Greeks into a single entity. So he basically takes this relatively small, but very well organized, very well trained, well equipped army, and says, I'm gonna invade Persia. So
bold moves.
He crosses the Hellespont. Alexander was bold to the point of maybe being crazy. He understood the impact of momentum. He would attack his enemy decisively where he was strongest and let the morale of defeating that strength break the army.
Break their spirit.
An example of that would be a Guatemala/Arbela, which is further in our narrative. We haven't gone there yet. We're still crossing the Hellespont.
Yeah, we got a ways to go.
One could argue that Alexander's success is because of the army left to him by his father.
Okay.
Basically, I think at one point, and he always led from the front. Like, literally, if there was, the wedge, he was at the front of the wedge.
Wow. All right.
And he famously had two, a plumed helmet, so everyone knew where he was at the outfield. And so he crossed the river, so inspired his troops. He smashed the Persian opposite, and then they folded.
So real quick, as an aside, this story of the Gordian knot. Okay, go ahead. Okay, we'll get there. I didn't want to jump ahead.
What were you gonna say about the Gordian knot?
So it just seems so obvious. It just doesn't seem like you're holding up this story of this tactical genius who comes in and blows everyone's mind. Where it's no shit, you cut it with a knife. It's like.
So the actual story of what the Gordian knot
Tell
was.
me.
There was a cart attached to this post, famously attached by Gordian, the ancient king of Gordian.
Right.
And basically tied it with this extraordinarily elaborate knot. It said, whomsoever can remove this cart from this post will be the conqueror of Asia.
Right.
And no one could undo the knot.
Right.
So Alexander comes to it, he tries to undo it, he's like, no. So he pulls out a sword and he slashes it.
Just chops it. Yeah.
This is most likely apocryphal.
Okay.
But
it's more of an allegory.
I believe this was recorded in Herodotus, who told a lot of fairy stories in his histories. He said there were ants the size of dogs in Afghanistan that hunted for gold. So,
Take it with a grain of salt.
Alexander, he goes south to Tyre, which was an island, a Phoenician island off the coast of what's basically Lebanon. Unfortunately, it was a walled city on an island. Literally the entirety of the island was a wall. So he literally has his engineers bringing rocks, and over a year he builds a causeway all the way to the island, connecting the island to the mainland, and then they siege it by land, and it's still connected to this day. It just shows the determination of Alexander. He's also 22 at this point. He's not old. So he leaves Egypt and starts marching towards Babylon, the heart of Persian territory. And
here he goes.
Darius II gets an army. Darius picked the field. Alexander could have tried to maneuver to a more favorable terrain, but he's like, I'm the greatest. I'll beat this dude on his field.
It just shows you what, like, the mentality, like, of just, like, if you think that you can't lose, that gives you an advantage.
And he couldn't, which is crazy.
And he couldn't.
Alexander sees this hole in his line right in front of the Persian king, right? And he's like, now's the moment. He realizes this moment. He takes his companion cavalry. He wheels them around the entire combat, comes back in and goes straight for the hole. And before it could close, he's directly in front and attacking Darius himself. And they're fighting, and Darius has his bodyguard, but like they succumb to the weight of the Greek cavalry, and Darius, seeing that his life is in danger, flees the battlefield, right? Ooh. So, the Persians look around and they see Alexander, this plumed general, all his cavalry just decimating the Persians, and then they see their king running away. They're like, oh shit, like we gotta like what are we doing? And then they start fleeing, and literally the army dissolves.
Oh my god.
Alexander is victorious. He goes to Babylon, becomes the king of Babylon. Darius died, like some dude kills him or whatever, so he's gone. And Alexander's upset. He's like, he should have been killed, but whatever. And Alexander takes his army up into like Afghanistan. He's conquering to Bactria.
He's spreading himself thin at this point, you think?
But it's not spreading himself thin, because he never really controlled the land. He literally had this little surgical strike force that just went straight to the heart of Persia, knocked it out, and just kept on going.
Yeah.
And he ends up crossing the Indus into India. He's now like literally in India, right? Like these Greek ass dudes.
Wow.
Are in the jungle, right? And he fights King Porus, an Indian king, right? Who uses war elephants. Could you imagine not knowing that elephants existed and then seeing one in armor coming after you to kill you? Alexander wins the battle, right? He wins. And he starts going, like, he's gonna like go all the way to like, I don't know, the Ganges. And his army mutinies. They're like, we have been fighting for 10 years. We've literally walked from Greece to India.
Fighting all the way.
We have so much loot. We will go no further. Like, we will not. Like, we.
But he's just like pressing on. Like, just like, there's more.
Listen, he would have gone all the way to China if his army let him. And his army's just like, no. Just no. So he, disappointedly, splits his army in half. They both go back to Persia. And then he dies at like 30 from possibly malaria, possibly yellow fever, possibly just intoxication. And the story goes that on his deathbed, his generals come to him and say, who will inherit this empire? Who will take over? And Alexander famously retorts with, the strongest. Anyway, so Alexander the Great is one of my favorite generals, one of my 4 favorite generals, because he was extraordinarily confident in himself. He thought he could do no wrong, and he literally believed there's divinity guiding him, and there's not much to prove that he was wrong. He never lost. He did not. He never lost a battle.
He just let it ride.
The only thing that stopped him was his own army just getting tired. Like he was not defeated on the field, which is something not many people could say.
Wow.
And it gets extraordinary odds. Numerical odds.
Well, I feel like I've learned something. Such and such, the Great, apparently conquered the world, or the world as he knew it. Like, I understand more than I did before. Eventually in history there would have been somebody that did that. Like, history is about stories. Like, out of all the conquerors, one of them would be the biggest or best one that people would remember. and so I enjoy hearing about it.
Do you think it's wrong for me to idolize Alexander?
What? So he's one of your 4 great respected generals.
Yeah.
We can get into the other 3 in another episode, but I can see it. Yeah.
He hacks away at the knot until he opens it up. And then he finds the ends and unties it. Now, some people say this is cheating.